€44,000 might seem a lot to spend on a Kia Sportage when you can get one for early 30s, depending on what engine you go for. But today we're looking at the PHEV version of the car. So it has a 90 brake horsepower, almost 14 kilowatt hour battery, which will get you a range of Kia say up to 70 kilometers. It's more like 55 thereabouts. It will deliver fuel economy of, if you plug it in anyway, about 2 litres per 100 kilometers. People also ask me in these videos, but what if you don't plug it in? What's it like then? Does it drink the juice? Well, I'll get you that figure a little bit later on in the video. Some weird things, you have to grab the door handles a few times, even with the keyless sometimes. It's like, do you want to open? Do you not want to open? I think the rear wiper covers half the window, which is odd. The boot is smaller in the PHEV. You're still getting over 500 litres, but it is noticeably down on the version without batteries in it. There's places for cables underneath, for your Type 2 cable to store. That will take you about 6 hours to charge it to full in a wall box if you're going to do that, which there's no point getting a PHEV if you're not. And apart from that, it's quite subtle in terms of there's a PHEV badge at the back, there's an extra charging flap on the side of the car on the right hand side, and that's about it. Everything else on the outside doesn't necessarily scream that there's a battery in this car. There's an iced coffee beige interior in this car, and it certainly bumps up the feeling of premium that you just can't help but notice when you jump in. The wraparound dashboard really is nice. It's very hard to fault the interior really, and if you haven't been in a Kia in quite a few years, you'll get into this going, whoa, they've really upped the game, haven't they? So it's a nice classy place to sit. Your PHEV menu allows you to set up staggered times for charging. You can also preheat the car in the mornings, so it'll have a lot of benefits that a full EV will have. Obviously just will be a little bit cheaper. And if you do want to have a look around the Sportage just as a new model, there's a video up here that you can click on where I've taken an extensive look at the whole car when it launched here a little bit earlier at the start of this year. I just want to focus on the PHEV today, the range, the fuel economy, if you do charge it, if you don't charge it, and what is it like to drive. So let's go for a quick drive and check it out. One of the best places to start this driving part of the review is at a set of lights, because the battery never fully depletes in the Sportage. So you always have almost 25% of charge there. And it means when you're pulling away from a set of lights, it's a very, very swift maneuver. There's no lag. You get an instant burst of electric power that just sends you away from the set of lights. And actually, when you think about it, this car is like 260 brake horsepower with a fully charged battery and the 1.6 petrol. So, you know, you do get the petrol engine kicking in, but it's a very quick dart away from a set of traffic lights, and the fact that the charge is always there a little bit means you'll always have that. The worst I've seen fuel economy is 5 litres per 100 kilometers, and that's without charging the battery. So for those of you who watch these videos and want to know, yeah, but what's it like when I don't charge, there you go, 5 litres per 100 kilometers. That would seem to be kind of the ballpark worst case scenario. It's very refined. The outside world is well insulated from the cabin. The steering is quite light, so you feel like you're not driving something very heavy, and that can kind of trick your brain if you're pushing into bends. Obviously a bit of extra weight in this car because it has batteries in the back, but it's still like it handles fine for what it's going to be used for, i.e. Family driving. Blind spot, as you can hear, works very, very well. I was just trying to check that I knew there was a car behind me there as I was pulling out. It's got rear traffic monitoring, so if you're reversing and there's a car coming left or right from you, the car will beep to warn you that you might hit them if you don't stop. There's loads of safety gadgets. The autonomous braking is a bit hit and miss. So last week there was a car in front of me at a T-junction. I was slowing down for the T-junction. The car ahead was obviously a bit more stopped, and the car had a Mickey fit and slammed on the brakes. 7-year-old in the back, Dad, what's going on? Have we crashed? No. It's just the car deciding to slam on. Now, I do get the whole better safe than sorry. I do get that. But autonomous braking, not just in Kia, I've witnessed it in quite a few cars over the years, but it really does scare the life out of you. It's just like it's almost there, but there are the odd set of circumstances where autonomous braking will just read the scenario wrong and absolutely petrify you, slam on the brakes, make you look like an idiot in front of pedestrians, and it's a little bit unnerving. I mean, it is brilliant. Again, I'd rather it slam on than not, but it can just be a little bit trigger happy, I found. K4 models get air-cooled seats. They're lovely this time of year. There is a borderline feeling where you may have had a little accent in your pants, but generally, you know, they're nice and chilled and help you stay nice and chilled. It's a good driving position. If you like that higher up seating position, you'll like the Sportage. Again, I've covered all this in the other videos. Questions is, how long to charge? 6 hours. What will it do if you charge it? Maybe 2 litres per 100 kilometres. Fine. How much will it cost you to charge? Well, you've got to multiply whatever you're paying for your own electricity by almost 14 kilowatt hours, because that will give you an idea. So just multiply, if you're paying 20 cents, then multiply that by 14. And that will give you an idea of worst case scenario, how much it'll cost to charge. Obviously, if you've got a company situation, you can plug it in, whatever. You may not have to pay for the charging at all. And then that really is the best of many, many worlds. But you've got to plug in a hybrid, otherwise you're just running around in a heavier petrol car using more fuel than you would have in just a standard 1.6 Sportage. Done almost 600 kilometers in the car this week, so I really have kind of, you know, managed to get to know it, put it through its paces, use it for all the typical things that you might use with dogs and kids and bikes and scooters and all the things that family life will throw at a car like a Kia Sportage, and it has performed impeccably well. Actually, this week I'm seeing quite a few of these on the roads. I'm sure they've also suffered with supply delays and all that, but you're starting to see more and more Sportages filter through on Irish roads, and they've always been a really, really popular car, but just in the last few years especially, Kia really are nailing it, looks wise, performance wise, tech wise. Loads of great kit as standard, depending on which model you go for. But you know, this is, I've driven the Qashqais, the Tucsons, well qualified to kind of compare them all. And the Qashqai isn't obviously there yet with full on electric mode, although that electric version of it will happen very, very soon. But the Sportage is a really great plug-in hybrid option if that's what you're interested in. It's just very hard to justify the jump in price for a lot of people. I understand that. It's always the big question, how do I know whether I need to justify the extra cost for the plug-in hybrid? Because it is a jump, it's not full EV. There's definitely a lot of arguments when it comes to plug-in hybrids where people will say, look, just wait, either buy petrol or diesel, wait till the full electric version, because you're going to pay extra and really you're going to have to keep the car for a long time, and you don't get all the benefits of a full EV, but you are paying to go green, you're paying to run the car a lot cheaper than petrol if you do charge it. But that's not to say the car charges for free. I'm sure you've heard those before, but if you are researching the Sportage, it's a great car in its own right. If you want to go green, there's obviously no full electric version of this car. That's up to you, but you have to charge it, and that's, I suppose, one of the things. And when you get into the extra cost factor, that's when you really do have to sit down and say, is it worth the extra cost? Still a great car to drive, plenty of power with that battery. It's just about that initial purchase price, and that's up to you to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Any comments or questions? If you've got a plug-in hybrid, how have you got on with it over the last few years? Those bits of feedback below will really help other viewers. So if you can help at all with comments down below, please do. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.